Hey, thanks for joining me for Rapid Reframe. Got some great clips from you from Kamala Harris's rally and some fascinating news out of the Trump campaign. It appears that, hope you're sitting down, Donald's a hypocrite. See you on the other side.
I know Donald Trump's tight. I know it's tight. In fact, I've been dealing with people like him my whole career. For example, as Attorney General of California, well, hold on, you know what? The courts are going to handle that part of it. What we're going to do is beat him in November.
Yes, that is how you handle it. I get it. I completely get it. It is karma. It is fair to chant, lock him up. He deserves to be locked up. But we're Democrats. We don't do that. We believe in the system, as slow and painful as it might be. So I really, on the one hand, completely empathize with wanting to get that lock him up chant started because it's just poetic justice. This criminal who 8 very, very long years ago um, ramped up a crowd to say such things about Hillary Clinton, who was guilty of nothing. Nothing. To hear people shouting for him to be locked up, yeah, I get it. I completely get it. But the woman at the head of our ticket needs to draw a very red line. We don't do that. That's what the courts are for. And I think the implicit message here is that's why we need the courts to be stronger and more fair. That's why we need court reform. So good for you, soon to be President Kamala Harris. Thank you.
Against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
Okay, before I get to the context, I would like to make a suggestion to Vice President Harris. The next time there's a heckler, I would suggest saying this. If you support Donald Trump, go to one of his rallies. There's plenty of room, right? Or lots of seats available. Something, you know. You won't have to wait in line. Well, we'll workshop it for her, but that would be my suggestion. Now, as for the heckling itself, apparently this was a pro-Palestinian. I don't know. I don't think there's any video of who it was, and I'm not even sure if we know precisely what was said. So this is not about the policies of that issue. Um, I think that Vice President Harris has put a little bit of daylight between her and President Biden on this issue. I know she refused to go to Benjamin Netanyahu's remarks at Congress, something to which he never should have been invited. So I thought that was making a stand there. I know that she and Governor Walz are for a ceasefire. But again, it's early days. and we will look to see what their policy is going to be. Um, it's a very fraught issue, and Vice President Harris met with a number of people who belong to the group Undecided. Those are voters in Michigan. I don't know if in other states, but maybe other states, but definitely Michigan. Voters who did not vote for President Biden in the Democratic primary as a way to protest his policy, his Israel-Palestine policy, Israel-Gaza policy, and who, um, you know, used their votes by withholding them to put some pressure on him to do better in their view, right? I'm all for that. That's what democracy should be. Like we're in a position now where we have to vote for the Democrat because we're so friggin' terrified. However, that having been said, we also are voting for the Democrat because look at this ticket. Look at what these Democrats have to offer. No one candidate, no one ticket, no one party is going to have everything you want. And I agree that the Democrats do need to do better vis-a-vis the situation in Israel and Gaza. I absolutely believe that. I also believe that every American has the right to protest. There are places to do that. And if you're protesting Kamala Harris and not protesting Donald Trump, if you're protesting the Democrats and not protesting the Republicans on this issue, then you're telling us something. So, I don't know at what point it's enough. Maybe it wasn't enough that she met with pro-Palestinian protesters ahead of time and the undecided voters ahead of. I don't know, but there's a time and a place for everything. And I don't know that that's the best place to make your case. And I think she handled it. I don't know. I don't know because I didn't hear I don't know what the people said. But if it had been a different issue, I wonder what people's responses would have been. What I will say, what I got out of that, because as you can tell, I don't have lots of clarity, except about what I think she should say next time, is that this is what Donald Trump has to look forward to if he's ever has the guts, which he doesn't, to be in the same room with her. So I really look forward to that. I really hope that happens because she will shut him down and he won't be able to handle it. So that's what I got. I thought it was it was a good sign of things to come in this campaign. Before we get to the next clip, I would just love for you to do me a favor. If you could click on the subscribe button, if you haven't already, that would be great. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Every single subscription helps. So if you haven't done already, please click. Doesn't cost anything. Okay, on to the next clip. I do not know who thought I needed to see that, but I'm glad that somebody very helpfully put his name on his shirt so he doesn't lose it, or I should say that he can find it when he misplaces it. Okay, this is the guy who, for years now, and listen, I do not believe in ad hominem attacks. I don't. Even when somebody really tempts you and invites them, right? However, for that man to have been going after President Biden for 4 years because of his age and because he's missed a step and slowed down a little bit, come on, this is, I would give Donald this advice, but he's not going to take it. And I'll tell you why he's not going to take it after I tell you what it is. Retire and go play golf until the end of your days at a prison golf club. Now, of course, that would require you're actually being in prison. The reason you're not taking my advice is because your only way to stay out of prison is to get back into the White House. And when you're in the White House, you're going to do that anyway. You're going to play golf all day long and make money because people will be, like Egypt just did, will be throwing bribes your way. So yeah, that's advice that will never be taken. And just that, I think that's just sort of a visual reminder. The very tricky spot Donald finds himself in. He knows he needs to do something to shift the conversation, to get the momentum back in his direction, to get media attention. He also knows that, or I should say, the only ways he can try to do that, because I think he's probably pretty tired and he's probably recognizing that this might be the end of the road for him. He has a very, very small bag of tricks here. It's not like he can suddenly come out and be this vital, energetic, positive guy with this wonderful vision of unity and hope for America. That is not in his DNA. I mean, actually, it might be, although clearly it's skipped a generation and it also skipped his entire line of the family. Because I have that. I have that DNA. He can't do it. He's too damaged a person, and he's too used to having the negativity and the cruelty work for him. Right? So like what do we think he's going to do? Come out and be a different person? No. He's incapable of change. He's incapable of evolving. So yeah, so that's sort of a visual representation of who he is, what he has to offer. And, I don't think that there's any way for him anymore to shift gears, change the conversation, regain momentum, and get the kind of attention he wants or needs to get his campaign up and running again. Can you imagine 47,000 people wanting to go see Donald Trump and JD Vance? Sorry. I can't. And you know what? Neither can they. And that's the problem they're contending with right about now.
I'll tell you about TikTok. Trump is going to keep TikTok going.
Yeah, I am. Actually, I'm working on it. Growing my followership over on TikTok. I really like it there. It's weird, but in a great, cool way, unlike Donald. So thanks for the shout out, Donald. I really appreciate it. And to everybody who follows me on TikTok, or everybody who will, hopefully after this. One thing I absolutely never do on TikTok is talk to fucking fascists.
Governor Walz is the latest entrance into the race, and so he's being hit with all the opposition research the Trump team can throw at him. And in one case yesterday, that appeared to backfire as audio resurfaced showing former President Trump praising the very actions he's now criticizing.
These guys have given me an incredible welcome.
Donald Trump's running mate, Senator JD Vance, has made the accusation about his new Democratic rival at every event the past 2 days.
He allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis.
He's talking about the unrest and looting in the city of Minneapolis in the days after George Floyd was murdered by police in 2020.
This is a guy who says that he stands for public safety, but actively encouraged the rioters who burned down Minneapolis.
But an audio recording from that time tells a different story.
I fully agree with the way he handled it the last couple of days.
In a phone call with governors, then President Trump praised Governor Tim Walz for calling in the National Guard.
He called up big numbers, and the big numbers knocked them out so fast it was like bowling pins.
In a statement Wednesday, the Trump campaign insisted Governor Walz allowed Minneapolis to burn for days, and Trump acknowledged Governor Walz for finally taking action to deploy the National Guard to end the violence in the city.
I'm of two minds. I think anytime Donald Trump is complimenting you is not necessarily your best day. But um things were out of control. And again, there's a difference between peaceful protests and protests that tip over into violence and endanger people's lives and people's property, etc. So you know, I'm guessing that the only reason Donald was all for having the National Guard come in to, quell the riots is because the many of the people protesting were black, and he has no problem with committing violence against even peaceful black protesters, as he showed when he was in the White House and authorized the use of tear gas and rubber bullets against those protesting peacefully in Lafayette Park because he's a thug and a creep and a scumbag. Thanks for joining me. I will be back with more of these tomorrow. In the meantime, if you could please click the subscribe button. Again, doesn't cost anything. It just means you're going to get alerted every time new videos drop at Mary Trump Media, which is basically every day. And please like the shows and share them with anybody you think will find them of interest. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.